She shakes her head. This shirt is Barbara Moskova. This raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it. No, it's just... She looks at the crumbling tenement, paint flecking from the stone. Her voice is almost wistful. We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we played it right. What would you have done differently? Good question. She cranes her neck. What would you have done differently? No. Hers first. I asked you. Who you know this? And I asked you, passless detective of the citizen militia, what insight has acute ends for quality tango given to you? Here comes wisdom, lady. Say the deaf thing. What's the deaf thing? I would have killed more. I would have killed more. 1,400 million, if that's what it took. The cold runs down your spine as you say the words like a small electric charge that seeks grounding. I see. A tenth of humanity. She is unfazed. The key of history is in the lock. Keep turning at any cost. Until it's all mine. Every pigment-drenched black leaf of money in Ravenhall. The wind stops, and for a moment there's silence. The cold dissipates into your partial lobe like a dissolved bullet, always quiet on the Martinez Inlet. A dog barks. A gunshot echoes off the walls of some distant building. A woman's voice. It's all yours. All yours, she nods. That's been the motto of many an Indo tribe. There is something clarifying about the strain of ultra-liberalism. Believe it or not, Wild Pines isn't even the most notorious example. That would be Saint Baptiste. You can quite far with that attitude. The lieutenant puts down his notes for a moment. Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM. She turns to him. And what is your official position, Lieutenant? There is a curiosity there that goes unnoticed. Kim takes a step back, absent-mindedly. My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. Would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir. Understandable, she nods. That's enough about the times. They're what they are, who knows, and after bloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know? Not so fast. Who is she nowadays? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer. Hang on. What is... 6 kilometers southwest in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at the rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, You heard what happened to the killer at Sunset? In Martinez? Yes, he lost his mind. Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. Don't worry, Emil. He pulls on it slowly now. We'll find it again. We always do. What am I? You? You're an officer of the RCM, she says energetically. This abbreviation, what does it stand for? It stands for Ravenhall Citizens Militia. Good. What is the Ravenhall Citizens Militia? Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of the post-revolutionary Ravenhall detective. Yes. The lieutenant steps in to make a gesture encompassing both. We are the Ravenhall Citizens Militia. He's being sarcastic. Are we? We are. You said de facto? Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition's government and to its charging. What do you mean? The RCM responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Ironman's Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire status to the benefit of foreign capital. All 3 are good to know. The lieutenant looks up from his notes. When are we out policing? So I'm basically one of the good guys? There's nothing basic about your role, detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional ruler likes it. She leans in. You on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they're not fans of you. Why? Post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Ravenhall in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a Bosch privatization scheme, a nuclear power meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizen initiative, she smiles. They will never forgive you. That's somewhat of an exaggeration, the lieutenant interjects. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Ravenhallians get to keep the peace in Ravenhall and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. He cuffs. Anyway, sorry to intrude, please continue. Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police, the only legitimate law enforcement authority in Ravenhall. Thank you, ma'am. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help. She bows and smiles. I want to know what you are. She comes. She won't maneuver her way out of this one. What are you? I'm the vilest of the vile, she said with a sudden flash of teeth. A traitor, a devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra. She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine. It's sharp. Dios mío! A liberal! Yes, she nods slowly. I'm the nether creature of the forbidden swamp, and pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought our kind were all extinct. After all, no sane person in Death France has this anymore. Not in broad daylight. She looks into your eye, and see we're not so different, you know. Tell me, now that I've uncloaked myself, do you find me frightening? Under her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire, decades of guilt and pride. Forgive her. But only because you like pearls and teeth, those lie. I forgive you, but only because you're charming. Adieu, she pronounces. Who, being of great charming Gillet, shake it into the homes of the godly. The dialect is Ubisunt. You recognize this quote from somewhere. A play written way back in the Franco-Nigerian century. Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in number 12 perfume. You're suddenly intimately aware of it. Wanna fuck? Still kill and destroy, she comes as quick as a whip. Okay. That they say we've been doing for over 4 decades now. Perhaps regrettably I've had my fill for the century. Oh my god. The lieutenant Helms reading his notes. In case I'm glad we can remain colleagues, despite my scaly bulk and my perverse need to infiltrate and betray both kingdom and revolution. When the dust settles, the liberals were the only one left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. She turns her gaze to the Delta. This was all our last generation managed. Would you have done something differently? Don't ask her this. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keep Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean. Lights go up, and motor carriages circulate the tracks. Would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez, not in the Stella Maris or Delta beachheads either, not for my own sake. She realizes her small cold fists are clenched. She loosens them. Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it. Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes, an old fire on the ocean. You're a smart woman. Perhaps. Her earrings chime as she notes, my intellectual vanity will be my undoing. You're no dummy yourself. No! Or intellectual vanity will be my undoing, and the crown on your head as you lay in the casket. You're a patriot? Yes, I suppose I am, but I would be a patriot anyway but here. Seditious thought, ma'am. Kip pulls down his nose and gives her a look. You have daughters? Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. She closes her eye. The opposite. What the fuck? Now she will return to reality. What is this? A bird? She tilts her head. A splendid? A flightless bird of the polar region? Am I really that awkward? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Well, I mean, what is this place here? Ah! She spreads her arms almost as wide. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. She looks around. What is Rue de Saint-Ghislain 33A? A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. New buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux, but 33A and 33B are not nouveaux, they're old. She looks up at the crumbling facade. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall, a real high rise by the standards of the last century, built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the delta. That was before the war, of course. Who lived in them? Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate before the cannons looked 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat from the dilapidated balcony. Cindy the skull gives Joyce the evil eye, her red paintbrush held to her throat. You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a sawing motion. Wonderful. What is that? The girl in the old lady rags? Yes. Looks like a sullen, rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Infraculture? Yes. You and I belong to the supraculture. We're common the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurants, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress codes and vernacle. It's an illusion, I'm afraid. There's no refuge from the superculture. Okay, now explain the same thing, but to a child. Young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. Defeating, not self-defeating. He pauses to take a long, leisurely sip of tea. Alright, what's next? Suddenly, you're not so sure. You're part of the superculture. I think I may be part of an infraculture. Her eyes go round with surprise. And what would that be? Disco. Ha! I can see that, yes. I dabbled in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. She smiled enigmatically. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon, all permeating, downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Your disco? Those days are long behind me. She looks inland with sarcastic wistfulness. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new, a cultural era, the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s, came out of post-revolutionary Ravenhall. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything, by the looks of it. That would have been when you came of age. Now, she raised the eyebrow at you. Champagne? That doesn't sound like anything I'd be into. I'm straight edge. Of course, you're much more grounded, a serious detective on a case called reality. Speaking of, is there anything else? What is... failed. A strange coldness comes over you as you look out the world. The waves sway you slowly, that's all. It's on the tip of your tongue, a doubt of sorts already in your head, but it's not fully formed yet. You have to wait and return to this later, once the jamais vu thought is complete. That's all for now. You seem rich. Can I have some money? Is what you want to say, but isn't that easy, is it? What is this? An athletic challenge? Scream it from the top of your lungs immediately. Show that asshole. You seem rich. Can I have some money? Thinking it, but your lips are not moving. What? Why not? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. What lustrous hair. a well-kept yet tastefully short block of dark hair. Despite the first hints of grey, she likes to keep it unnatural, shaped into a permanent wave, late 40s style. Positively statuesque. White though orange pearls hang from her earlobe, red from coat, her light green eyes scanning full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind of eyes of the rich man that seems to say everything is possible, within reason. Yeah? So? Now, look at you, you miserably clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a sight of bush precedes you, your hair sticks to your forehead and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... I'm a goddamn working man. I'm not ashamed to shake this leech for some dough. You think your little communism protects you from the feeling? The more demeaning it is to grovel at her feet. Oh god, the lieutenant is here too. Do not dishonor the force. As I was saying, her voice breaks the silence as soon as you're back here again. Oh, come on. Yes, I'm gonna be saying it. Nearby, a seagull pecks at the piece of garbage. If there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Say it. Can I have some money? Voila, you're doing it. Really put your back into it. Yell it from the top of your lungs. Money. Go with that one. Money! I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. She chuckles to herself. The weight is a bit strong. Could you repeat that? I need money! How much money? I shake her for... this seems reasonable. I need 130 real. That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large. She reaches into her raincoat, pulls out a zip bag into you. In it, you see paper notes arranged like black gills. Oh-ho! She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch. There must be about 200 real in that zip bag. Maybe a little less. Put some change at the bottom. Whoa. Did you see how easy that was? Ask her for more. Toot toot. Train to body town. Can I have some more? This may seem like odd behavior for a police officer, ma'am, but it's perfectly common side effect of his squints at you. The unusual medical episode. Another. It's alright, Lieutenant. The woman dips in her fingers back into the bag. I really did bring as little cash with me as possible to avoid the tension, so here you are. The last bit of filthy lucre I can share. So, she returns the zip back to her jacket. Hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. You may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still. I'll go with this. You bribed me, alright? I'm your little peon now. You illustrate the expression by holding an imaginary and very, very tiny peon between your thumbs and index finger. You're right, ma'am. That donation are permitted under the Emergency Act, and seemingly as it may be, as long as they are properly lodged with the precinct. Which he most certainly will do. She bows and then raises a single eyebrow in your direction. Now how can I help the RCM today besides supplementing its salaries? Alright, let's... Okay, tell me about this alleged drug trafficking. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Ravenhall with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years. Ingredients for what, ma'am? Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can make from the stuff. Shit yeah, baby, it's the party pipeline. Why would you want to shut that down? Why are you trying to shut down the party pipeline? I assure you, officer, these are not the sort of parties you want to attend. She has no idea what kind of parties you've been to. Let me get this straight. The materials came from the Samara to Ravenhall through the terminal? Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here. Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. You mean to say the Union also produces the product to sell drugs, ma'am? I mean, we're in logistics. It's our business to know, and no, as far as the company knows, the union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut, and you want us to investigate. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Everett and dock workers. Union, still. She raises her bony fingers. Every chain has its weak link. The hand of the motor lorries at the roundabout. Am I going to need bolt cutters for this? Unlikely, officer. I'm talking about the lorries. Once the ingredient reaches Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, all beyond our grasp. But in transit, they may be vulnerable. How convenient that they are stranded like beached whales at that roundabout. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. She gives you a knowing look. Her irises are light green, like the River Esperance, in bright daylight upstream where it's clearer. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you. Uncovering union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them. You'll be indebted to her in a way, but one step ahead of the union in another. Already indebted to her. Just took a bribe. We already have some suspicion that one of the drivers was present at the lynching. The two might even be connected. Or not, though if you have evidence on the contrary, I'm eager to hear it. As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. It's no coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, is it? No. We asked East Motor Truck to raise the drawbridge. The road company is partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, she pauses, looking at the sea. This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they will have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. She looks north. Thousands of liters of raw ingredient will pour onto the streets of Ravenhall. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary. A cold breath rushes in from the bay, making its way down the alleyway and potholed streets from Martinez to Jamrock. In the traffic, you hear the clinking of glass vials, concealed beneath tarpaulin, or is it just your teeth chattering in the cold? Fucking misery. A lot of it, she notes, comes in from the large Samaran factories in Tine, Ca, and Siwan. Jesus. The literature they must get from the terminal alone must be oceanic. Well, at least this solves one mystery. What is that, Lieutenant? Why I had to call East Motor Truck and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in on my motor carriage. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kitsuragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity, I'm sure you understand. Okay, I've made up my mind about the smuggling investigation. Yes? We'll take the case, probe the drivers, see what yields. Excellent. She takes a long sip of tea. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or may just blow the case wide open. You can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. She takes another long sip from a seemingly bottomless cup. Thank you. That's all for now. Of course, detective. Take care. Yeesh. That was a lot. A lot of text. Hang on. Have some new ones, so unlock. Oh. Okay, do that. Hey, up here, piggo. What the hell does she want?
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
No. Why were you yelling at me then? Got some cigarettes. What's this? I have enough money to pay that guy off. I begged off enough money from that lady. What's this? Roundabout. Oh, what the? There's a dude over here. Is he dead? Beat him off, you watch around me, boy. Boy. What's this? It's called seepage. Take all. Some cash. Again. Spot of bullet holes line the wall. The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The fading marks are too degraded to draw any forensic conclusions. Just chips in that sandstone. They look pretty ancient. Kim, look! Bullet holes! Where? He looks around. Someone has been shot. We're cops. We should solve it. There? He looks to the wall. Those are old. Oh, you mean like from the revolution? Yes, the one that happened half a century ago. He blinks. Those bullets were fired during the revolution and do not warrant an investigation by an officer of civil law. I don't want to know more about this. Really, he knows we should focus on present crimes from the present century. We already learned enough about this revolution. What's this? This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest, full of fossilized bubble gum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. Poor little viewer. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. Vandalism. Probably some kids. The lieutenant inspects the rigged slot. A simple but clever solution to running coin-operated viewer. It took ingenuity. What's inside? A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno on the lens. Huh. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appears. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky, weather-worn wooded planks, an egg-shaped cross topping its star. You know this to be the star of Pericarnassus or the Chihro, the central symbol of the Pericarnassus church, a star, a great moral hate to be strived towards. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. Around the large wooden building you see a chunk of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice. Huh. Nothing I can't do on the job for every man. What's this? There's something down there. The musty smell of a potato cellar in spring emanates from the air vent. Let's go see if I can pay that fucker off. Alright. We back. Do you guys even sleep?
Can I help you?
So about that money I owe you. Yes, have you got it? I have your money. He glares at you suspiciously. Well? I hope you choke on it. Great. Perfect. I hope you enjoy your freezing cold room with the window you broke. Yourself. You really worn down his patience. Even paying him didn't help. He takes out his keychain and fiddles with the mechanism behind the counter. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, please pay for each night in advance, 20 real per night. He opens his wallet. I'll take a room here too. He takes Kim's money and hands him a keyring. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you? He looks at Kim, avoiding her gaze. No, goodbye. Hang on, wait a minute.
Can I help you?
I need a drink. Can you pour me one? Do I have a shaker in my... Oh no, yes. Sounds irritated. Nothing. Forget. He's not a... You don't understand the seriousness of the situation. I'm an alcoholic. I need my fix. Ever more reason for me not to serve you, sir. Was there anything you needed other than that? No, fuck off. Oh, let's sing. This feels right. You belong here. No, you don't.
Yes?
You seem to be following me. Excuse me? What if I want to work this case alone? Detective, if I may be frank, you seem to be in a deranged state. You have trouble remembering things, you've misplaced your badge, I cannot let you act in the name of the RCM without supervision until you've regained control of your faculties. Oh, so you're an unaccountable wreck who has to be supervised. You don't have to take this display of authority, you can disobey! The RCM? Yeah, we know. I know what the RCM is. That's good. You don't need to supervise me, Kim. Except that I do, detective. But what if I need some me time? Some you time? The lieutenant considered this a moment. This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You still have your evenings to yourself. Okay, I'll leave the self-care for non-work hours. Please do, he says. We wouldn't want your regime to spill over into the investigation. The lieutenant is pretty sure self-care is just an euphemism for nihilistic binge drinking. Is it not? Alright, let's talk about the case. Would you say this is a mysterious case? The lieutenant considers your question a moment before answering. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. Well, why not? The lieutenant shrugs. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I was thinking something otherworldly might be involved. You know, something supernatural. I can assure you nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not? Are you sure? You think something is already happening? No, something isn't happening because it's not part of... He makes a precise gesture. Reality. The gesture resembles an orchestra conductor bringing the choir to a full stop. So desperately mundane. You need to funk this case up. There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him. If we are from a different precincts, why are we on the same case? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a... He considers the phrasing a pissing competition. His disdain is clear. This man would not use such an expression otherwise. What do you mean? You don't know? His eyes narrow. I assume you were in on it. You know what I'm in on? Retrograde amnesia. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. Cop-off? It's just stupidity. The lieutenant shakes his head. What kind of stupidity? The cop kind. Our precinct can decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the industrial harbor. Yours or mine, as if he somehow owned parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we let the union make a mockery of law enforcement here. And now it's come to its natural conclusion. Ah, so this is a struggle over who runs Martinez. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our station about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But, he leans in, I assure you, I'm not their finest or toughest 102 cases solved, or am I least interested in pissing competition. So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are two columns. One says, case solved, the other, confirmed kills. The rows are endless. I know mine. Jean Vacomera, Judith Menot, a special consultant. What was his name? Then the rows degrade into green nothingness. Your brothers have left you. For some reason I thought you had 104 solved cases. Well, technically, the lieutenant says somewhat sheepishly, The official record keeper has been known to double count murder-suicides. Common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats. So you're still a good cop, right? I'm a good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. I wonder what this says about me, that I was sent by my station. He raises an eyebrow, thinking it's best to let you make the next move. Clearly he has already formed his own theory. Tell him why it's you. It's all part of the master plan, you see. Don't be scared, but I think I might have supernatural abilities. He opens one hand and looks at it. A moment passes. Which school do you subscribe to? Mambo? He opens the other hand. Or Jambo? Wait. Which one is the one where you hear your Thai talk to you? Mental illness. I don't have that. I have something cooler. What was that? Mambo and Jambo? Yes. I think I might have both Mambo and Jambo. I imagine strange things and got cold chills too. I didn't know that was even possible. It must be a great burden. It's both a burden and a gift. It's good to have. His mouth twitches as he comes up with an expression. An ambidextrous para-detective in a labor dispute. I can see why they sent you. Should we go? Okay, enough of the competition then. Tell me something else. Yes, it's wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it. He's actually glad it's addressed now. Convince Kim there's a sexy dark mystery twist in this case. What if you did it? Did what? The hanged man? Yes, you killed him. And then, as part of the plan, you drown out the memory. It wasn't that you were horrified. You were just surprised by your own daring. Forgetting was merely a matter of convenience. Very clever. Maybe this is why your chest feels so hollow. You did an awful thing, and you can't even bring yourself to acknowledge it. Are you sure you would have had the strength to take down a hardened mercenary? You're not in best shape. Kim, I think I may be the murderer. I killed the man, and then tricked myself into forgetting about it. The lieutenant appears and faced. And what has led you to this conclusion? But it all makes so much sense, or have been so convenient for me to forget all about the murder and everything else. Thus far, your memory loss does not seem to be convenient for you or anyone else, except insofar as you've managed to avoid doing any work. What? But I did most of the investigative work. Besides, I doubt you have taken down a hardened mercenary single-handedly. See? You're clearly not a man in your prime anymore. He studies your face for sign of offense. Don't take it personally. It's just that security guards kept on by large corporations tend to be better trained and better armed than officer of the RCM. So you're saying I didn't kill him? I find that highly unlikely. It's not unusual for detectives to feel complicit in crime until the perpetrator is apprehended, especially when the investigation is dragging. So let's get back to it, shall we? Why did the 41st send me? Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to slight Precinct 57. What? No, that can't be right. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late and argued with his necktie. You weren't sent here to win. Kim, what if my precinct set me on this case because I'm a fuck-up? Like, as a joke? I've considered it. His voice is somber. But it's not true, right? I don't think I can say one way or another. I do think it's somewhat unlikely, though. Why's that? I checked the records. There's jurisdiction dispute. Who polices Martinez reaches back to the 30s. It is old as my station, and all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez. I think yes, both stations would prefer a win. Ha! So you are their finest. I am the finest of nothing. Do you really see me as a safe bet? Safe? No, but you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. but it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they're in for a surprise. He's right. There are no airtight theories, just paranoia. You've given it some thought, now let it go. I want to talk about you. Me? Yes, you. I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. We'll work better together if we have more rapport. That's a fair point. Alright, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? You're wearing glasses. That's correct. That makes him binoculared. Completely uncop material if you say so yourself. I don't know. They let binoculars become cops. The lieutenant's face turns ruddy shade. Oops. I can assure you, detective, that I have passed all the required physical exams within the last year. Can you say the same? You may not remember taking any little tests, but you're strong as a goddamn ox. Anyone can see that. The thing is, the RCM employs relatively few oxen. It's clear that what the lieutenant may lack in musculature, he makes up for in other ways. Check it out. I've made crack codes and solved cases. Just because your precinct has a reputation for cracking code doesn't mean that's the only way to solve cases. Was there anything else? You don't look like other people around here. Oh man, that's racist. That's because I'm half Silite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So, wait, Korea? So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. She said, it's not an interesting topic. What is Seoul? It's part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting. Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, peninsular state west of the insular Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. So wouldn't even say mysterious. Okay, I guess it's not interesting then. I can see you're disappointed. Brief smile. You're right to be. I don't speak a word of Seoulite. I've never met either one of my grandparents. I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular garden variety Ravenholier. Point of pride to him. He's glad to have shot down your question. Tell me a secret about yourself. The lieutenant narrows a single eyebrow. No. Ask again. Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse to order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrows. The eyebrows is exercising psionic control over you. It's like you're locked down. What's happening to me? Something the matter, detective? This guy's got authority off the charts. With just a flick of his eyebrows, he's able to make you his straw. So what can I do about it? Nothing. You better hope he doesn't abuse his authority. There's a lot of it. Silently scream for help. If the lieutenant were an evil man, who knows what sort of havoc he could wreak. Fortunately, he's a committed officer of the RCM. He only uses his powers for the good of the investigation. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrows, and you seem to regain control of yourself. What the fuck? Do you ever talk with yourself? What do you mean? You know, when you're thinking, do you ever have a conversation with, like, your brain? I have no idea what you're talking about. The lieutenant, conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary. The lieutenant is the police officer of the old school. His concerns are material and extrinsic. But this isn't an old school case. Ah. So you're saying your brain never just chimes in with advice or warnings or anything? I can't say that it does, no. What I need to think, I just use my notebook. The lieutenant produces familiar mnemotechnique A6 and idle terms through a few pages. That's where his conversation with himself take place. We all have our different mediums. His is written. You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special. That's all for now. Good. Let's change the subject. Alright. Nothing. Let's leave. Guess time to go to bed or something. This is the door to the room you redecorated. Good night, Lieutenant.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
Alright, let's go.